there's no change to the agenda, anybody knows of, anything to add on? No, we'll go forward and move to the minutes, last meeting's minutes.
Probably the only thing we may want to do on the agenda for Joey Clark is to indicate what it is that Du Bois and King are
Sand and salt shed grant.
yeah, just so that it's people, you know, they want to just add that in.
Okay, doing right now.
One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7 stanza. It just says pie by, never mind. Misread it. Never mind.
I'm logging in, I don't know the address.
What's this Susie Parent or
It's
rent the
170
Apple
Maple
House
Park.
to somebody?
On the 6th.
They were very mysterious about who they were going to rent it to.
They said that they had,
Salem Central, the pantry is required.
I would actually,
Respond
we could just have
170
to
Maple
do
Park.
Okay.
This is rescue with loading location. Salem Central came with the page for Enosburgh Fire. We have respond 170 Maple Park. This rescue with loading location. Salem Central carried by, you know what?
Mysterious.
Yeah.
oh,
Wait a minute.
We'll just make a point to come back when Terry comes back, just to let him give an update on what Susie Hall came in for and have that. And she wasn't present last meeting.
so I think the minutes look good. I move to accept
Did that change?
with that change.
For salt shed. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion is made and seconded to accept the 10 minutes with a change of adding for the salt shed on Joey Clark part of the agenda. Any more discussion? Having none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. So there's approved.
You have
More what? Warren?
Oh, yes. Glad you said something. I hate having those things lying around.
I know. I keep thinking about them too.
Alright, so we have a rec member appointment of Jen Burns.
She wants to be added as the community member.
I'll move.
I'll second.
So motion's been made and seconded to appoint Jen Burns as a community member on the rec board. Any more discussion? If having none, all those approve, signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, say nay. Alright, so Jen's back on. Richard Carr appointment to EFEDC.
So let me see if I'm getting my memory correct. We appointed, you could have,
That's the Enosburgh Falls development.
right, and you can have 2 from Enosburgh. We did 1 from Enosburgh and then 1 was not from Enosburgh, but she can be in
Alternate.
an alternate or some at
Number
large.
large.
Yeah. So this would be their second Enosburgh resident that they want appointed to the Enosburgh Falls Economic Development Corporation. Committee?
Mhm.
Corporation?
I think it's corporation. but,
So somebody put this name,
Yes, sorry, Jim,
Cameron?
thank you. Jim Cameron sent me an email saying they had met, the whole committee had met, wanted to bring Richard Carr's name to the select board for appointment. So, I don't know him, no.
I do. I'll
But,
move.
yeah, I'll
Richard
second.
Carr from Enosburgh?
Nichols
Andy-
Road.
Yeah, Andy Carr's
Andy
his
Carr's
wife.
dad.
And then, his sister is,
She was a great woman, but I don't remember her name.
Yeah, they played sports too.
Yes.
Yeah.
yep.
Who made the motion?
So,
I'll make the motion.
And I accept it. Oh,
so motion made and seconded to appoint Richard Carr to Enosburgh Falls Economic Development Corporation Board. Any more discussion? If having none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Cranking them right down.
mhm. And then you come to a screeching halt.
Tax stabilization information.
Yes, so I had this, I've had this for a while, just I kept forgetting to bring it back. But it is, no, it is, did you print that email, Billy?
I thought I printed it.
Do I have it? I don't have
I thought I printed
it.
it.
So I've been in contact with Vermont League of Cities and Towns, like I told you. And they sent me some language that you can put on the article at town meeting.
This is for like,
Quincy.
Quincy.
So
projects like that.
this is the language that would go on a ballot, on the article on the ballot for town meeting, that basically has the taxpayers vote to give us permission to enter into any tax stabilization. And then after they vote, then we can enter into tax stabilization contracts as we see fit.
Okay.
So there's a couple of different ways. There's agricultural, or forestry, or open space. That's not what we're asking for. Commercial or industrial property, potentially.
Mhm.
Oh,
Question. Would we want to put,
oh,
is this to ask the people, because I didn't read your email, ask the people to give you guys permission to enter into it?
correct.
So would you want to put all possibilities for the future?
Well, so
And is it paper versus floor?
I believe it's Australian ballot. I could be wrong. I'll double check on that. I
It would
almost,
be better if it was Australian. but-
yes, it would. I would agree. So this is for general authority, meaning like, once they give us the okay, we can enter into any contracts we want. This one is for limited authority, so I'll read them to you. So the general authority is, shall the town give the select board general authority to enter into tax stabilization contracts with owners, lessees, bailees, or operators of commercial or industrial property? So that's easy. And then this one says, basically, shall the town vote to give the select board limited authority to negotiate tax stabilization contracts with owners, lessees, bailers, or operators of agricultural or forest property, open space land, and alternative energy. Oh, nope, you got them mixed up.
Why does it say limited? Because how do you know what? limits.
So
Cause that's the, yeah, that's the
You got it,
agriculture.
yeah, exactly, you got it
definition.
mixed up. So it said, shall the town vote to give the select board limited authority to negotiate tax stabilization contracts with owners, or operators of commercial or industrial property, which said contract shall be effective upon ratification by a majority of those present and voting at an annual or special meeting warned for that purpose. So,
But then the thing is that, what is limited?
so I would have to, we would have to specify, I would have to find that out, but for me, this basically says it's up to us to decide. This must be, you know, limited authority.
Could you read the last part again about the meeting and having the majority?
Oh yeah, which said contract shall be effective upon ratification by a majority of those present and voting at an annual, oh, okay, limited means you have to go year to year. Right?
Good.
Which said contract shall be effective, the contracts are effective upon ratification by a majority of those present and voting.
It's almost, that's
So
why
you-
I should read it again, because it sounds like we have to do it year to
Year to year, so every
We don't-
contract has to come
Yeah,
before
we
that.
don't wanna do that.
No.
No.
We want to do this, however, it does say note, a vote to grant authority to select board to enter into tax stabilization contracts for commercial or industrial property must by a vote of 2/3 present and voting.
So it
Oh, so
still
that's
sounds
the
like
pass
it's
for
going to
By
have to be, I
2/3.
don't know, it still sounds like the contract itself has to be approved by the voters, it sounds like, from year to year.
Nope,
No,
this
this
one
is
says,
different wording.
the first one says, shall the town give the select board general authority to enter into tax stabilization contracts with owners, lessees, bailees, or operators of commercial or industrial property, period. This one is that you have to come before them, that the contract isn't effective until you vote on it. This one says we have general authority to
And it's
enter.
not asking to ask the people after they vote on it.
After they vote on this, it's, if I can ask for clarification too if you want, but it sounds like.
No, if they give
No,
the
I-
language.
Yeah, no, maybe I should ask just to be clear. But it sounds like this one just they're voting to get, they trust.
So
We're
that
gonna-
one sounds like you're voting and it needs to be passed by 2/3.
Correct. This one also, right here, note, is the same. They have to vote by 2/3.
And then the thing is that why wouldn't we want to include this in our moving ahead?
I don't know
Process.
if we would want to, well,
Just never know.
to agriculture or forest, open space, land, and alternative energy generating plants.
Oh, it sounds like public service board stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's because I was thinking, when would you stabilize taxes for an agricultural venture?
They already are by current use.
Right.
Yeah, but that's,
Oh, right.
but the thing is that that's
Well, I could see it happening, like,
in theory. But if
right,
you-
like say
but
his sisters wanted to do something to expand on their business and they came and asked you, that's agricultural business.
Or would it be commercial?
No, I think it falls under ag more.
Really?
I mean, it is a business,
Right.
but
And-
so
and it-
so is
yeah, and
Jarvis
it
Farm,
could
but
be
still
that
ag.
it's
But it's-
other than dairy.
right.
So I mean, if say you had beef,
If somebody wants to go into that kind of open space land, that's,
Christmas trees,
I mean, you're right, that is what current use is. It stabilizes.
Yeah, but I think it's hard for us to be doing something on the lands itself. It should be like the buildings, the business portion
Portion.
of it. That's what we're geared on. I mean, yeah, like my sisters want to do a bigger store or something like that. Something to revitalize
Right.
the economy. But if you're going to be doing some of the Christmas trees, I don't know.
I mean, I'm just
I'm
throwing-
not just
I mean, I'm
I
thinking,
know.
you know,
out there like
it's-
that, it's gonna be a little difficult to,
I almost say
And
do one at a time,
or even breweries. I mean, it's one of those of,
but that's commercial or industrial. That's not agricultural.
then I don't know, like vegetables.
Could be. But would you tax stabilize for that? Maybe. I mean, I don't know. maybe.
I'm just throwing it out.
Well, I think
Or
once you open the
start-
Because
door
your
for tax
property doesn't
stabilization,
increase, your value doesn't increase. Like, we're basically a tax stabilization issue, you're just holding the value.
How do the girls' place getting taxed? Are they on current use? But that's
the
for
land is current
business.
use, but the building is different.
Commercial.
Because part of it's commercial and part of it's ag.
Yeah.
So that's where something like, if they want to expand their building for the business part, they could
Under
ask
commercial.
for that, for
Right.
stabilization under that part.
Because why would you, I'm talking out loud, I'm just trying to make sense. Why would you want to hold your value? How would your value increase if you decide to turn it into turnip fields? Why would you need to stabilize
I don't know,
it?
I'm just thinking,
No.
like the chicken farm over in Highgate.
Oh, okay. And you decided to like put up lots of barns, and is that what you're thinking?
I'm just,
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to,
I mean, we can always come
There's gonna
back
be
and,
lots of scenarios.
you know,
Right.
use that in a couple years, but
yeah,
Alternative energy generating plants would be
right.
renewable energies.
right.
So this one, so we would have to kind of, I don't know if we put a letter in the book that talks about it.
I think you should.
Like,
When we have like a,
But they liked your letter last year, you know, that addressed a number of things and the reason why the rates were what they were. I heard a lot of good feedback on that, so I think the
Okay.
more you put in, like, do the same letter, but
Right.
address that
say there's
article
an article on the
specifically.
ballot that discusses tax stabilization as Enosburgh moves towards kind of revitalization, and that
if it's gonna be on an Australian ballot, you may wanna do an informational.
We will have to.
meeting. Oh, okay, you have
It's
to.
required.
Oh,
I was gonna
okay.
say, because a lot of people aren't gonna be at town meeting, but they're gonna vote on it with,
Oh, right,
what
absolutely.
did they talk about at
Right.
town meeting? You need to know ahead of
Yeah, no,
time.
exactly. So, because I know what's going to come up, we are going to get the question
Mhm.
about the educational tax. So, the educational tax, like, let's say, I like to draw pictures.
Mhm.
Let's say the Quincy, for example, is done in 3 years. But they want a tax stabilization for 5 years, okay? The information from Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns, and I ended up talking to the guy from the state, I forget his name. He says even though you can freeze your tax rate for the town and the town's taxes, the educational tax will still want to be collected at the new rate. So the state's gonna come in and reassess that property. And when they do, the educational rate is going to go up. And so the taxpayers are gonna have to make up the difference for the educational
Oh.
tax.
Quincy wouldn't for that part, because this would
Quincy would.
freeze,
Which I don't, that's the part I get hung up on, because the educational tax is based on our appraised value. But they said that the state would come in when that project is done and all the permits are finalized, they're gonna come in and do a reassessment.
Well,
What?
no, it's just kind of, I'm a little confused on this part too, just because why the 5 years versus a different number, so then we're not changed, so then we don't have to do this?
Right, so that's what I was gonna go through next, was, so they're only gonna come in and reassess when the project is done. So if the Quincy is a 3-year project, we could change our terms for the tax stabilization, say we'll give you a freeze for 3 years. That way, we don't raise your town rates, and when the project's done, then you don't get a break on the educational tax. Does that make sense? So we would, the
yeah,
tax,
because we don't, I mean, we're gonna set different times anyways
Exactly.
for different
so
projects.
you can, exactly, so you can stagger it, so when, you'll only freeze it maybe until the project's done. And then when the project's complete, then it reverts back to the higher rate of taxes, and that way your taxpayers won't have to eat any educational tax. But that was the argument when I went around. there to that meeting was, you're gonna make everybody pay for the educational tax.
Down where?
Village.
Oh,
Yeah. And so, but that was because we had based it on, we had thought 5 years. But the state said, no, well, they only do it when the project's actually complete. So we could work with terms like that.
right.
Now,
I didn't realize that the state would come in and reassess that. I thought they would just get their rates from what we told them.
Well, I think
They come in
will tell
every 3
Kermit to go
years.
look at
Is
it.
that
Oh, is that what happened?
They come in every 3 years, even if the project's not done, or
I don't,
I think they
No.
will check on it.
they just come?
'Cause
check on it.
they check on your contracts. So we have a contract right now with the Masonic Temple, and we have to renew it every 5 years, and they don't have to pay any taxes.
Yeah.
So when we do the grand list, you have to check which properties have contracts, and right now that's our only contract. So if we entered into a contract with them, that would get clicked on. So they contact the lister or assessor and they ask, did they vote on it? Do you have proof that they voted on it, like minutes? And where does it stand and what's the value? So they ask a lot of questions. So they don't come in themselves, but they keep track of it very well.
And there's probably a ton of state permits that they're gonna come in and see if they're completed. You know, so I think that triggers a lot too for them to come looking.
Probably some state grant money.
Something. So that's why they say, we'll come in at the end of the project and reassess. So but that's the decision we can make when we enter into these contracts is how much burden do we put on the taxpayers? Do we, say you're gonna eat educational tax for a year, or no, we're gonna stagger this so we don't pass on the educational tax to anybody? Does that make sense? Okay.
now the thing is that who determines when the project gets done? I mean,
Well, the
say-
certificate of occupancy, right, is the completion?
We don't
I don't
How does
know,
that
maybe
work?
they're different
necessarily,
parts.
No.
depending on the lender.
Oh,
Some lenders require it.
Right.
Others don't, and they're getting a lot of different grants, so they may not be required.
Yeah, I don't know.
See, that would be one thing that, because we want to question, because say we do the agreement for 5 years. It gets 90% completed in 3. And if you drive by and you say, well, heck, what are you waiting for? Because it happens a lot in construction, where, my house isn't done,
So
Well,
therefore
and he
my
did
value
say-
doesn't go up?
bingo.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Jim did say they were gonna do it in like phases, like
The
this part,
phases,
then this
right.
part, then this
We
part,
talking
so
about
that's a good
Somerset?
question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that, we're talking overall,
It's a
legal tech,
tax stabilization.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But we're just using that as the example. I think we should address it to them. I mean, yeah, that's the one we
they
should.
put it up to the town, I mean, if the town, the voters say no, then we have no decisions to make.
Well, this is based on the town and the village.
Yes, everybody who,
Yeah, and
it's at our, it's not at the village
Yeah.
level, it's
I
just
mean,
at our
so,
meeting.
so it's,
I mean, it's
Yes.
kind of going hand in hand of what they're trying to do right now, revitalizing.
Exactly.
yes.
And this is gonna answer, do you really wanna do it?
Yeah,
If you don't get 2/3 of the vote,
exactly.
it's saying you don't have the backing of the community to do what we're.
That's exactly, 2/3 of the vote.
Mhm,
This is,
Yeah.
that's the
2/3 of
problem.
the
Yeah, these
people
have to be
present.
2/3.
Present voting,
at them.
right. Do we want to maybe look ahead for a date? It's going to have to be in January to have a informational meeting?
No, it has to be within,
It's a couple weeks before, isn't it?
within 10 days of the town meeting.
Oh, okay.
So then if we have any other items that we have to get loans for, we could do it at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Like, if we, for Joy or something,
I
if
don't
we
know.
get a town
Okay.
truck or something, we have to have an informational meeting, so we'll bundle them
Bundle
up.
up. Okay.
Okay.
The other piece too is when does, I always ask you this every single year, when does the book go out? So if we wanted to put anything.
Towards the
in
end
there-
of January.
End of January?
Yeah.
Okay, I always think it's January 1st, but it's not. Okay. Okay,
Well, if we
So I could get something
I
in
think
writing
you
and you
definitely
guys
have to
could
do
look
something in
at it.
writing because it's
Yeah.
very complicated.
No, I
Yeah.
know.
And if you can show examples of how it affects people, even
Right.
better. Because it's very, I mean, I'm confused.
I know.
Sitting here going,
Look, I, yeah, no.
And the thing is that if we keep it as a mental note of, say, the 15th of January,
Yeah,
to have
Do you want this?
that information,
yeah,
then,
that'd be plenty. I mean, usually sometimes it's something even the first week in February,
well,
but I think it's a good idea to tell them because I so many people just complimented you guys on that letter.
Right.
I mean, they were just like, oh, that was so helpful. I think that's why part of it went so smoothly.
Okay. Oh, also, did you get the letter from Home Health that I called about? Did that come in?
Let me see.
I called Home Health, this is kind of a side note, but town meeting. And I talked to Janet McCarthy, who's the director of Home Health, and I said, you know, this keeps coming up at our town meeting is, what do these funds actually pay for? And so she said she would include that in the letter. But she wanted me to take a look at it and see if she needed to add anything. So I was like, I said, it's not that people don't
Did
want
you
to
read-
support you, it just seems to be the one question mark that people have. She was fine with that.
To bring you up to speed, when you left there, we were talking about Susie.
Mhm.
Seems to be
Or
okay.
the-
It looks- yeah. It looks like it usually does.
Yeah.
Okay.
The person that renting it,
These in the book?
basically the argument was
Yeah.
they
Do we
wanted to
open
rent
them?
it
Oh, okay.
because it's
okay.
gonna be open the weekend before.
Um,
This is their last event of the year. And what we told them
Enosburgh, 1 Central.
was they need to evaluate, and BJ's gonna give them information too, like how much more is it gonna cost for heating that place for an event like that compared to the rent
Yeah, I
amount that
think we
you're
should
gonna
put it
get?
in the book.
Is
Sorry.
it gonna offset it or not? Because if it's not,
It was nice in there Saturday night, wasn't
yeah.
it? Huh?
Oh, Sunday
There was a
too,
lot
they
of
said.
people in there too.
got a good turnout there?
Oh, very good turnout.
Good.
Shit, set up another 6 tables or so. huh?
Yeah, 5 more
Oh,
tables.
good.
It ju- I mean, the party didn't show up, but I understand, I know why. But it's.
That's good.
It was a good, that's what the Opera House is made for. something
Right,
like that,
that's
you know?
community,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Good.
So do we vote on the match or
We
not?
did.
We did, okay. It's just the thing is it's Susie on the board.
Yeah.
Well,
Is she? Yeah. Is she?
that was just it. It hit me after.
What?
Is she on the board?
I think so. That's a good question. Billy Joe, Susie's on the Friends of Opera House board. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
I couldn't remember if she was just the, not just the, if she was the director or.
No,
So,
I just want to make, we just didn't fine tune that, but we'll do better next time.
Alright, so
Next.
next on agenda, we have a door to fire station.
Yeah.
I'll go through, I'll make a phone call tomorrow to Portland Glass and St. Albans Glass, and
I guess you need to bring me up to speed on what's going on. The door broken, smashed?
No.
It's basically need a new door up there. You know, Wayne Wallace has fixed it for 3-4 times now.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's not a door man, but he's got us through, you know, and so the wind won't take it off and everything. Now, right now, I was up there Saturday there, you know, and the door don't completely shut again, you know. And, well, BJ was up there too, and she knows the same thing, you know, the door don't shut all the way, you know, it just,
That's the main,
the main
entrance.
door, yeah. And of course, it's 20 years old,
Yeah.
a lot of people have been through that in the last 20 years, you know.
and it's getting a lot of use now, the building gets used.
So what, these two handle doors like that?
they do the commercial doors. You know, it's
Yeah, yeah.
storefronts and all that stuff, so I'll just call them up and get a quote.
So we're gonna need at least, at least 2 quotes, at least.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 or whatever.
Wow.
At least
Makes
2.
it hard.
Something with some handles on the inside as well.
Like a,
Well, right now it's
Like
just
a
a bar.
bar.
You can't-
Well, that's the tough part, is that I think we have to stick with the bar just due to handicap accessibility.
Mhm. Won't be too bad if the doors are working right.
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 Maybe a little heavier too, because that, like, being on glass, it's very lightweight.
Well, that, and then at the same time, it could be one of those of, just find out from them, if you do a half a glass.
Oh, right, have a solid door and then half the one.
Yeah.
No,
I'd
but-
wanna get prices of both.
Right, yeah, I mean, we'll just take a look, but it's,
Oh, you mean half glass
Would
on
you
the
prefer
door?
all
I
glass?
getcha.
Your preference is all glass?
Well, I don't know, I just think there's more light, and it's more
Yeah.
lighted, you
Yeah.
know, that's my
Oh,
thing.
light in there, yeah.
That's my thing.
Yeah.
It's, it might be something too that we'll be able to put on next year's budget too, or is it something that needs to get fixed right off?
Well, the wind's gonna dig that door again, I know that's the way it is, eventually, you know,
But I imagine our budget's not gonna look very nice with some of these unexpected stuff we had this year.
but it's,
let me get the prices.
We'll see
and
what the
go from there.
prices
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
cause I mean, you know,
Just something you gotta,
the windows
just
are
something you
gonna
gotta
be
do if you
updated.
wanna keep the thing up and keep it, you know, viable.
It just,
So, I was just
gone through a lot, I know.
thinking about the seat. When do you have to have your petitions in to be here on the select board?
Like the
30
27th of,
January?
21st or 27th of January, 21st, 28th.
So whoever's gonna run. And if we
Is my turn on?
Oh, let me check. I think it is you.
Okay.
Here's
think it's you and
two
I.
areas.
Mine is enough.
We should talk.
I'm looking, I think the
after.
light's right there.
Larry Fistler, Jarvis.
There.
The two Larrys?
The two Larrys.
Maybe after we can chat.
Mhm.
Alright, so you're gonna get some quotes on that and
Yep.
bring it to the next meeting probably?
Yep.
Alright. Then we have the sand shed agreement needs signature. Let's do this. Okay. Attached to the consultant form for select board to sign. At least two other members signing along the chair. As well signing for all here. DK's proposal was 37,253. Don't be concerned with MLA of 49,000 listed on the form. That was what was included in the grant budget for design and use by V-Trans as part of the Ready consultant selection process. Joey's on vacation, said he's back now, isn't he? No?
Well,
He's
he
off.
came in to shoot some paperwork at me, but he's back on.
He took, what, 2 weeks?
Yeah. So hopefully I'll leave him with almost a week.
Okay. So he basically needs this signed. That's what we talked about the last time Joey was here.
Right, and he sent her an email saying what had happened, and she said formally we need this, so I guess she wrote it up, Bethany wrote it up, and said that it needed to be
So
signed.
she says, don't be concerned with this number up here.
Right.
49,000, because it's actually 37,253.
Yes,
That's just the number that he'll
for the grant part,
use for
to
grants.
the AOT.
So, where do we sign? Municipal representative and responsible charge. So would that be the chair and then the members?
And that paper you signed the last time we were here, that needed signature from somebody for grant reimbursement, they already sent money.
There what?
They already sent the money, the 76.
Oh, we just need yours?
76,000.
No, you guys need to sign the next lines.
For the
At least two
consultant
others.
Selection committee, okay.
I assume that's what it says.
Yeah, it's a selection committee, even though,
Okay.
we didn't really have a committee more than,
Oh, yeah. At least two other members signing as a selection committee, so you guys are all signed.
You know what I'm saying?
Just put all your names on it, ain't gonna hurt.
No, that's right. Here, you sign.
You might get picked for something.
Jury duty, jury duty.
I left room for you to sign that.
Have you ever done jury duty? I always wanted to be picked. Why? Because I think it would be neat.
My brother found out what retirement means.
What? Jury duty.
You
I know,
read
my
for jury?
grandmother was like 87 and getting picked for jury duty.
just because
I'm
Billy
like,
called for it 3 times.
what?
Finally said, I don't live in the state of Vermont, which she doesn't,
Right.
and.
So that's
Okay, we'll
all I
take it.
have on the agenda, and it's just the warrants now, so.
Did we ever close the loop on the Mark Rose meeting?
I
That's,
sent him an email, he was going to get back to me, but hasn't
Okay.
yet. I think he wants to talk to me.
Okay.
They were gonna come over, I believe.
And they were gonna, okay, thank you. So we're just sending warrants?
Yep.
yeah, so this is a nice cheap one. Yeah. Second payment,
Yankees?
third payment, they all come at the same time. Wow,
Well, different dates.
this one is heavy.
Yeah, that one's heavy.
How are the taxes coming in still?
Yeah, they've been pretty good. I mean, the thing about the delinquencies, I mean, they were coming in a few days after people realized taxes were due.
Oh.
You know, like Susie said, she wants to bring something up at a town meeting about lowering the amount of the penalty.
Right.
I mean, I think it's something to think about. I'm not sure if I'm in favor of it because it does maybe
Less
curb
return.
somebody's thought of being late.
Yeah.
Paying the penalty is not fun.
No.
These appropriations, this.
And they totaled
we-
exactly what was in, did I put the page?
We got that down quite a bit, didn't we? Or-
Last year we did.
All of these, and it totaled exactly what that line was in the book.
Super duper.
So, January we meet every Monday?
Is that a conflict with your?
No. The school board's Tuesdays.
Oh, boy.
Although.
You don't have these in order, do you?
Oh,
I
she's
didn't put
making
them in
me
order.
guess.
I'm sorry.
I was like, where's this lawn mowing? Okay.
So this one was, even though we had said one secretary center, I did sit on rounds and as Jeff came in and he goes, it's really high, and he said it has not been trimmed at all this year. So he goes, it's gonna be a mess next year. for
Right.
us." So I said,
Oh, which we should.
so that was both of these for that and part of it. The length.
We should also have Elise come in when we're budgeting
Next.
to
And-
have
yeah, and
a
the-
conversation.
Maybe someone from Blue, because they're the only ones that use that field.
Oh,
Truthfully.
yeah. Right.
They're the only ones that use the field. Maybe they could take on
Chip
the
on,
expense.
chip in.
But maybe they could even do the whole expense. They make a lot of money. I mean, they bring in a lot of
So do we, who's the,
So
Renee
we're coming
Patty?
marks on this?
You can make marks on that. Do you know who's in charge of Little League?
What's that?
Do you know who's in charge of the Little League overall?
Or is it
No,
Little
I
League
don't.
that uses
I
it?
don't.
It's the, well, no, Little League should
Different Archibald
definitely.
used to have something to do with it. Renee used to have something
Renee
to do
does.
with it.
I think Renee still does. But, so I can ask her, but,
Because if you know she doesn't, she would know.
right. And
Mhm.
then there's that summer league, but
That's through lease.
correct. That's right. Okay. Okay.
But
And
that's when we pulled the porta
Right.
potties out of there when the summer league started.
right, and that's what kind of caused.
That downward.
Jamie's got some
Oh,
different,
no,
different papers
no.
now? Oh, it's this guy. Mike Wells.
Yes, I'm gonna spit that out.
Okay.
And your other position should be talked about, because we pay and the school pays, so that's something to consider, maybe not having the school pay.
Oh, no, no.
Because there's no
We're not, we
sunset.
already talked about that. I
Oh,
said-
but there's no,
Oh, wait. Maybe I'm not talking about the same thing. Oh, I'm talking about the
because
rest.
this, says bus bill, and she says the school will get everybody pay. The same amount, just something to keep in your back of your mind.
Oh,
Because there's no
why?
state. I don't know.
okay. Good to know. Good to know. Thank you.
So all the engines went down there.
All for service.
Has he been doing it or is that new this year?
No, he's done it. He's done it for years. Ever since we got them.
Everybody have their tree?
No,
You got mine yesterday?
I was gonna get mine this coming weekend. I don't.
I said, I don't have to
it's so
shake the
green,
snow
it
off.
wasn't like getting me going. Normally I'm like giddy when I get my tree. Like, but I really wasn't feeling it.
That's funny because we were getting our tree yesterday and this lady with her little son there and the grandmother was there too. And, he was like 3 years old. You know, this is supposed to be a fun time, she said.
Put the Christmas card away is what I say. My kids are like, you never let us get a pick. You always have to pick it. It's like, I'm not staring at an ugly tree for 3 weeks.
It was 4 years ago. We went from one end of Foot's tree farm to the other and back again. And Gary finally said, if you ladies don't finally pick one, I'm just going to stand in the middle
In point.
and wait.
Oh.
Because we had walked literally to the end. Then we walked to the end. And then we walked back to look at the...
Where is that one?
On Bakersfield. I don't know the number.
Oh, it's in the back, on the back side of Bakersfield? No.
What's that route, Terry, where Foot says?
36?
On 36.
Oh, isn't it called something different? Is it Bakersfield Tree Farm or something?
Probably.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm confused. So Larry's and those are different even though they match up? Ooh, that's
Wait a minute.
competitive.
Oh,
This one
yes.
here? No, that's
That's
separate.
yeah, that's Lucius.
Yeah, so I got a funny one there too. You got picking your tree. Paul went yesterday too to get his. And he's like, his wife and daughter's like, wow, they really like this one. Paul's like, let's get it. Well, let's look at the rest. Let's look at the rest.
That's-
Paul's
that's
like,
it.
let's
Exactly.
get this one. So they go around. Now let's go back and get that one. Guess what?
Couldn't find it. Or it was
That one is
gone.
getting cut.
Ah,
By
that'll teach
somebody
you.
else.
That'll teach you.
So then Paul said we had to go to St. Albans, his wife and daughter had to go to St. Albans after Paul had his vehicle and they had theirs, so he went one way. I guess they followed that vehicle almost all the way to St. Albans.
With their tree on the top.
I said, oh,
That is
okay.
funny.
Yeah.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion been made, seconded to adjourn. Any more discussion? Having none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Well, you know what we do
All
for
those opposed
Christmas?
say nay.
You have a real tree, Terry?
Oh, we have a real one. Oh, yeah, we have to have a 10
Short and sweet.
Oh.